What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how we are on the wrong side of society. And not all of us, but if you're in the same position that I'm in, I've come to the realization recently that I'm on the wrong side of society. And what I mean by that is basically, this is the way the system works, all right? At least in the US, this is the way the system works. There's the government who prints money, right? They print money and then they lend it to the banks. The banks then take that money and they lend it to the people that are, real estate investors, the people that own the land. And those real estate investors, they then take that real estate and rent it out to people like me. People that are working a regular job and do all the work in society to make things run and make things happen. And people like me that basically pay their bills. So there's people at the end of the system that basically do all of the work and pay everyone else's bills along the line, if that makes sense. And that's why I had realized, I'm on the wrong side of society. There's people that take basically just paper money, borrow it to go get an asset, to then rent it out to people like me that pay for that asset. And that's why I just wanted to make this quick video, because I think the sooner we can get into the, level of thinking where we can realize that we want to be in the state of ownership as soon as possible. We don't want to be in the state of renting things, okay? Whether it's renting your apartment, renting, leasing a car. When you're in the state of renting, if anything happens, if you don't have a substantial amount of savings, you're pretty much screwed. Well, not screwed, but, you have a much more limited amount of options in your life when things happen. And also, if you want to go live your life and do the things that you want to do, you don't necessarily have the option to do that. You know what I mean? Because you have to go back to work and you have to make that income so that you can keep paying for these things that are rented, right? So I think the best thing that we can do is get to the point of complete ownership. And we can start small, whether it's buying your first house, buying a duplex or whatever, or even making sure that you pay for your car outright instead of leasing. I think that is extremely crucial to success. And I know a lot of us are looking for success, and we're looking to live the type of life where you can go out and do things on a daily basis that you want to do. You don't have to go to work if you don't want to. And I think if we can get to the point where we shift our mindsets, right? No longer looking for a job that's good enough, or a career or a salary that's good enough, and looking for just pure ownership in all of our assets, and getting to the point where our assets can bring in enough cash flow to where we can do whatever we want in our life. If you want to go build a business, you can go build it, but you're not forced to go build it. If you want to maybe be a painter, you can go paint, because your assets are paying your bills, right? And I think it's not a horrible position to be in, but I wouldn't say a great position to be in is the point where you're the one on the end. You're the one doing all the work to pay everyone else's bills, right? You're the one going to that job 8 hours a day and paying rent to rent an apartment. I mean, half of the work that you're doing is going just to living expenses for most of us, you know what I mean? And you can become really stuck. And I think it's a huge issue. It's a huge issue, because once you're stuck in that, it becomes much harder to get out. Okay? And a lot of us are told, go get the job that you want, go get the hourly that you want, go get the salary that you want, and then you can have your own place, your own apartment or whatever. And it's not a good position to be in. The thing about that is, no matter how hard I work when I'm at work, no matter how many days I try my hardest, I'm getting paid the same amount. It doesn't matter. Okay? And you're at the mercy of your employer. You're at the mercy of your landlord, right? 6 months goes by and I'm, busting my ass at work, and they don't give me the promotion I thought I was gonna get. Tough love, you know what I mean? There's nothing I can do about it. And the worst part is, if you're stuck in that position, you have to go back to that same job, and you have to keep grinding there because you got to pay for your living expenses. And it's such a bad position to be in. And that's when I realized I'm on the wrong side of society. There's one side of society that uses other people's time and other people's money to live off of, and then there's the other side that does all the work and pays all the money for the other people that are living off them, if that makes sense. And right now I'm on that side. I'm on the side where I'm the one doing the work and I'm paying the bills of someone else. I was talking to someone today about how the CEO of the company that I work for, he basically just chills, He can do whatever he wants because other people are doing the work for him. And I think the sooner that we can focus our mind on, not necessarily a single career path, unless that's what you want, but getting to the point of owning systems and businesses and assets that really run themselves and bring in the cash flow so that we can go live the lives that we want. We can go travel when we want to go travel, do whatever we want, because those things are kind of working for us. I think when you're in these hourlies and these salaries, you're pretty much capped. No matter how hard you work, there's a cap to how much you can make and how much you can live. You have a few hours every day to go do what you want, and the rest you got to go work. You have a little bit of money that you can use for whatever you want, and the rest got to go to bills because you're renting. You're renting your lifestyle. And I think a lot of us, especially people that are like me and that watch this channel at least, want to get to the point in life where, our bills are paid for. We have assets that we can live off of, If I can get to the point where I own enough real estate to where it's cash flowing my bills, once you build that system once, it's paying for itself over and over. And the worst part is, every year our dollar is going down in value. The more that they print, it's going down in value. Okay, so every year, no matter how much you make, if you're on that renting side where you're the one doing the work for the same hourly every year, you're getting poorer and poorer. Because let's just say you make 20 an hour this year, next year you make 20 an hour, but those dollars have been printed millions of times, so that dollar is worth less next year. Okay, and that's another piece of asset ownership that we want to focus on, is when we own the right assets, they don't necessarily go up in value over time, but perceptually they go up in value. It's perceived that way. Because every year, if you need more dollars to buy the same thing, then it seems like the value went up. If a property is priced at $150,000, then a few years down the line it's priced at $200,000. It doesn't necessarily mean that the value of the property went up necessarily. It could just mean that inflation took over and that you need now $200,000 to buy that same amount of value, right? But the point is, it was a good place to park your value, the money that you earned. It was a good place to park it because you're not losing all that to inflation or whatever. So keep a little bit of your money aside for an emergency fund. You definitely just want straight cash or a bank account ready to go for emergencies. But anything after that, we want to put it in the kind of assets that at least hold value, if not go up in value. Whether it's real estate, some type of commodity or precious metals or something, anything is better than just sitting on cash. But the point of this video is, less about where you should put your money, but more about just getting to the mindset of, we need to get out of this renter's mindset, right? We need to get out of this borrowing mindset and living on someone else's asset, right? We should, as soon as possible, own our own cars. We should not be financing cars. As soon as possible, own our own properties to live on. There's no reason we should be paying to fill someone else's pocket just because they own the property, right? Paying thousands of dollars every year just to live on someone else's property, and at the end of it, they own it and we own nothing. You know, they borrow money from the bank. It's not even their money. They borrow money to go buy this real estate asset to then rent it out to you. You're the one basically paying their mortgage to the bank, and every year they're growing their equity in that property and they're owning more and more of it on your dollar. And that's the most fucked up part. Excuse my language. And that's the main piece that we have to get out of, okay? We need to start getting to the point where our dollars are at least working for us and not for someone else, okay? And I think whether it's, you know, through asset ownership or business ownership, if we can get to the point where other people's time and other people's money is working for us instead of the other way around, then at that point we're on the right side of society. I think there's two sides to be on. You're either on the side of ownership and you lease out what you own to someone else and they're paying your bills, or you're on the side that does all the work for the other people. And we don't want to be on that side. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, we live in a capitalistic society, okay? And that's just the way things work. And we need to get out of this mindset where we think, there's a perfect job out there for us. Because, 1% of the jobs out there are perfect. Maybe a professional soccer player or something who's getting paid millions a year to play. Okay, that might be a great job, right? But even that person should be taking that money that they earn and putting it into assets that they own that can bring them some type of cash flow, so that at some point, if they don't want to work anymore, they don't have to, right? There's no real perfect job out there, and I think some of us are lied to in thinking that, like, if we go get training and certifications and college degrees, then we can get that perfect job that pays us enough to live the life that we want, but it just doesn't exist. At the end of the day, you're going to be working 40 hours a week to live, or maybe less, but at the end of the day, you're at the mercy of that job, right? If you stop working, your savings is going to go down eventually, and then you got to go back to work. You're at the mercy of that career. But if you can use those dollars, because it's inevitable that somehow we're going to have to do some type of work to get the dollars to go buy the assets. But if you can use those dollars that you earn and put them in the right assets instead of just wasting it away and putting it in someone else's assets, that's the key. And eventually you can get to the point where you don't have to work anymore, or you can drop your level of work. Maybe you can go from full-time to part-time because now you have enough built up. Maybe you have one real estate piece of property built up. Maybe you have some cars that you own that you rent out or something like that. Anything. There's a lot of things that we can own that can bring us cash flow. And I think the best type of businesses are the ones that are not just glorified jobs that we make for ourselves, but ones where we can go to sleep and wake up and there's more money in our bank account the next day, right? We can look at our bank account one day, go do whatever we want in life, come back the next day, and there's more money sitting there. And a lot of successful people that I've seen, they work a lot less. They work a lot less than the people at the bottom. The people at the bottom work the hardest. They're the ones doing all the work so that the people at the top don't have to do anything. Okay, and you get to choose what side of society you want to be on, right? So it's crucial that if you have that business idea that can work, that you can build a system around to eventually, run on its own, we focus on those things, right? Get rid of these spending problems where we're wasting our money. Don't lease cars. Try not to lease apartments if you don't have to. Buy property, okay? Get equity in something, right? And yeah, that's kind of just why I wanted to make this video, because that's where my mind has been at the past month or two. Is like, it all kind of just hit me, you know? I was like, I'm wasting so much money renting, and half of the work that I do every day just goes to my rent. It's insane. And it basically goes down the drain. I never see that again. That goes in someone else's pocket. And it goes in the person's pocket that never even had that money to begin with. They just borrowed the money from the bank to go buy the property, right? And the bank just borrowed it from the government, who just printed it. So it's not even, it's all these people down the line are doing nothing so that the person at the end pays all their pockets and pays all their bills, right? So we need to get on that side. There's two sides to be on, and we need to get on that side. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video, and then I'll just end by saying, like, that kind of leads me into my next pursuit in life. So I know this is called like Michael's life cycle, so I'm kind of talking about, you know, the lessons I learned along my path per se. But my next pursuit is to go get my real estate license. And not because I want to be a realtor, because at the end of the day, that's just a different wage salary position, right? I can be a realtor for a period of time, so I can learn about real estate. I can get my real estate license, so it makes it easier for me to know the ins and outs of real estate in the area that I'm in. And it makes it easier for me to buy pieces of property when it comes time for that, so that eventually I can get out of a salaried position, you know, a wage position, and get to the point where I own assets in real estate that I can rent out, possibly, that I can, you know, rent out to multiple renters and get enough cash flow to where that's paying my bills, and that's paying for more than my bills, but also giving me an income. And then at that point, yes, there's going to be some work. There's no getting around the work. Obviously, you got to keep up with the properties. You got to take care of them. You got to renovate them. But it gets to a point where eventually all of the work, at least it led to something, okay? It's not like a regular wage position where you could do 10 years of work for 20 an hour and then you get fired, and what did it lead to? Nothing. You have nothing built up. You're still a renter. Now you got to go find another job. And it led to nothing. At least this way, if I can take the money that I earn and put it into some assets, eventually I can get to the point where I don't need to work. And I hope that, you know, maybe this set off a light bulb in someone's mind out there. And yeah, that's kind of where I've been at for the past month or two, just like almost angry in a way, or just frustrated, because I'm like, dude, how did I end up on this side of society? You know, some people end up on the other side, and then most people end up on this side. I'm on the side of the people that do the work to make society run. And it's unfortunate because it just makes you stuck. It makes you stuck in a life where you're just working a regular job. You basically have no life because most of your days are spent at that job. And you can't do anything else because the amount of stuff that you got to pay for, your bills, means that you have to keep going back to that job. So yeah, I've been kind of frustrated, but I think, you know, it led me into wanting to go get my real estate license. And you might not have a path in your mind that you can think of right now that you know can lead you to the other side, but I think just focusing on it can at least allow you to, you know, keep your eyes open for the opportunities that come, because there are opportunities to get to that other side, you know, and you don't have to be insanely rich to do it. You know, there's ways to get there that all of us can do. And yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of put that on your guys' radar and just speak about my thoughts recently. I've been kind of amped up. I was talking to a friend today about similar things, and how she told me, you know, shout out to you if you're watching. She told me, like, you want to make your job work for you and not the other way around, you know, and that really, you know, set off a light in my head. And so that kind of is why I'm out here just making this video. But anyways, yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on the whole real estate thing. And I don't usually like to tell people my plans because sometimes they change, and then I'm the guy that's just constantly changing his plans. But most of the time I change my plans is because, you know, I've come to some new realizations, or I've learned some new information that has gotten me to that point where I'm like, no, I should change my plans. I can do this all with much less effort, you know? And I think you all can too. It's amazing when you realize that you can actually get the results that you're looking for with much less effort than you're putting in right now. It's, you know, it's the people at the bottom that work the hardest. It's the people at the bottom that work the hardest and pay everyone else's bills. But anyways, I hope you guys got some value from this. And if you guys like this video, let me know in the comments below. And I'm just gonna keep making videos about any, you know, life lessons that I learn. If you guys like these videos, please let me know. Shout out to all the people that have been watching and commenting. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. But yeah, that's about it. See if you can focus on this kind of stuff and let me know how it works for you. But anyways, that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.